Got a wish list for what you'd like to see on Saturday. What would it include?
Wish list for Saturday. First and foremost, just communication, making sure that the communication is where it needs to be. Obviously, the teams are going to be split up. That's something that Coach Sweeney really believes in, splitting the teams up. So you're not going to necessarily have guys next to each other that have been next to each other all spring. So it's going to be a little bit different units breakdown, but I want to see the communication, because if we have the communication, then you're going to have the ability to execute. So communication leads to execution, and there's competition. See guys go out and compete and show us that they can play, in front of a big crowd. We're expecting and anticipating a big crowd. Just want to see guys, especially guys that haven't been in that situation, just see how they function in that environment, and then take care of the quarterback, take care of the ball. If we can start there, I think we'll have a good day.
How much will Trevor and Travis, guys like that, play?
We really hadn't even discussed it yet. It's still early in the week. We're just trying to get better today. We had a half a scrimmage today with some situational stuff. We split it up. We split it up with ones on twos, and had an opportunity to see those guys compete, and we'll evaluate it, and then we'll split the teams up. But really hadn't discussed that yet. I'm in a situation now with a couple guys banged up that all those guys are going to have to go on Saturday.
Where's the offense relative to last year right now?
It's hard to compare because it's a different unit. Obviously, working somebody in at center. Travis is Travis is performing at a high level. Taven, the backs have been pretty solid throughout the course of spring, breaking in a new tight end. So, it's a little bit different, but overall, we've had some good days. There was one day where we could have done a little bit better right before spring break. Didn't quite have the right focus that we needed to, but overall, been pleased. We've been very explosive throughout the course of scrimmages. Not quite as efficient, as we've been in the past, and that's an area we're really going to challenge these guys to make sure that we stay ahead of the chains and not just try to live on the explosive play, whereas last year we were just trying to come in and figure out how can we generate the explosive play, because we were very efficient in 2017. So, it's a little different group. Their chemistry is starting to come together, but we're still a long way from where we need to be.
How far has Lynn J come in his learning of the offense and pass protection, and also the weight that he's put on?
He looks good. They've done a great job in the weight room. Still not in terms of pounds. It really hasn't started to come on yet, but you see his body starting to fill out, and he's running a lot more violent, more powerful. He's starting to understand the technique in pass protection, and now I would say he's more self-sufficient, whereas in the past you could see those guys are always looking at the quarterback. What do you tell me what to do? But now he's able to read the signals and know what he's supposed to do, and now he's starting to understand how to identify defensive front so he can get to his protection responsibilities at the second level. So just overall, he's really progressing. Has to make sure he does a better job with ball security, just because he's an electric guy. He likes the big play. He likes to swing that ball, so I'm trying to get his attention to be a little bit more secure with the ball. Hasn't had an issue of putting it on the ground, but it's just a matter of time if you don't properly carry it.
You spoke competition. Has there been anybody that stood out in competition between your position groups on the offensive side of the ball so far in spring?
Pollard really transitioning to center has been a pleasant surprise. Being able to interchange him and engage Cervenka. Jackson has done a really good job. A guy stepping in for somebody like Mitch Hyatt, and didn't know how that was going to go at first. Obviously, he played a little bit, and I've been challenging him to make sure that he's at the proper weight. But he's done a really, really good job. So he's competing well. I tell you, Blake Vincent has really kind of turned the corner from where he was last year. So that's a lot of competition there at left tackle. Jordan McFadden has been a guy here that's been competing well the last couple of weeks. Has really started to make a move over there to give us some added depth on the right side, specifically at right tackle. Taven has competed from day one. He came in with a different mindset, a different look in his eye. Obviously, he knows this is his last go round, but I think more importantly, he saw how Choice owned his role, became a leader, even though he might not have been the starter, and I think he understands that we need that in our position room, and so he's really upped his level of competition here throughout the spring. Trying to think at wide out. Just DeAndre Overton, is a guy that's been a real pleasant surprise, being able to compete, and then obviously being able to versatile, being able to go to multiple positions throughout the receiver corps has been really good. DK was competing until he got moved to the other side of the ball, and obviously that's a natural fit for him. He's been doing some good things over there on the defensive side of the ball. I'm just trying to think at the tight end position. Obviously Galloway and Chalk, I tell you, Chalk and Galloway are competing. Obviously they're a little bit different in their skill sets, but being able to function in the area where they may not be the strongest, so to speak, like Galloway becoming a better run blocker, whereas Chalk becoming a better pass receiver. So seeing a lot of competition there, and I'm just trying to think. Those are probably the ones that really stood out.
Has Sean done enough to show you he can start at center if you need him?
You know, if we needed him to, I think so. And again, like I said, that's a great luxury when you got him engaged that can snap. And I tell you, Cade Stewart has done a really good job of understanding. Still got to work on the snaps a little bit. Sometimes he fires that thing back there about 100 miles an hour, and the quarterback's only at about 5 yards. But otherwise, he's been competing well at center. So that gives us a lot of confidence knowing that we got 3 guys that can snap. But not only can they snap, they're interchangeable and they can go to guard as well.
Do you go to battle with Coach Venable with DK? You guys?
Yeah, it's like every day we're like, okay, are we going to get him back? Are we going to get him back? But ultimately, man, this is a team game. And if Coach Sweeney and Coach Venables believe that's what's best for the team, then obviously, we'll find a way to make it work.
Sorry. This is a much different situation than what we saw with Ray. Obviously, he played a corner late in the season out of necessity, but would you say more likely that we'll see that from DK next season?
I don't know. Obviously, we're just trying to get through the spring, and then we'll get into our meetings this off season, and then we'll get into fall camp. And obviously, it's a situation where he's a dual threat guy. He can do well at both positions, and more importantly, is we just got to figure out what position he helps us the most at. And obviously, we won't know that until we get to the fall.
Where has Trevor improved since January?
Trevor has improved just with I think he's already a poised guy, but you can see now where his level of knowledge has gone to the point to where, he can pinpoint exactly what happened. Whereas before he would kind of say, okay, I think this, but now it's like before we come off, he's like, yeah, I should have done this, I should have done that. And so you're seeing him really take command, of the offense. I think his movement in the pocket, being able to extend plays, and just his feet in the pocket, using his fundamentals to be able to get the ball out has been really good. I think leadership-wise, you're starting to see him be a little bit more vocal. Whereas last year, obviously, he was just trying to lead by example through his play. But now he has the confidence to be able to speak up and command. And again, you got 4 offensive linemen, senior offensive linemen up there, and that's where the bulk of our leadership is going to come from. But even though he's just a sophomore, we're challenging him, and you're seeing him respond there.
How about Justin Ross? Have you seen an improvement from him over last year? And can it be, I think everybody kind of talks about how hard the transition can be for receivers. It didn't seem very hard for him. Did we maybe miss some of the things that he needed to work on?
The biggest thing for those guys, man, when they're that athletic, they can get away with some things athletically. But as you continue to progress, technically you got to improve. And what you're starting to see is technically he's really starting to own the position. Whereas before he was a little bit inconsistent from an assignment standpoint. He'd make a wild play and then he might not be where he's supposed to be. So you see he's a lot more comfortable and he's becoming more versatile, so we can put him in different positions, which really gives us a lot of flexibility and will make us hard to handle when you can have him and T on the field at the same time.
I doubt that you at any point were concerned overly about this, certainly with those 2 guys, but like Dabo talked last week about, there's going to be a ton of attention on them. There already is, but now they're sort of the cover boys for Clemson football coming off a national championship. Are you pleased to see how much they've continued to want to build upon what they had last year instead of sort of resting on their laurels after that?
Oh, no doubt, and they got a competition going between them, and it's a healthy competition. I mean, they both, I believe, understand how good they can be. They're not there yet. They understand that as well, that they haven't arrived, and they're pushing each other. So every single day they're coming out and wanting to make plays, but at the same time they're rooting on their buddy when he does make a play, and with that's going to give us more flexibility, because if they're the best 2, then they need to be on the field. So I think as those guys progress, then it allows us to be able to get the best guys in the spots that they can function on the field, which makes us harder to defend. And then what that's going to do is that's going to help your tight end position. That's going to help your 3rd receiver on the field. It's going to help the running game. So if those guys can continue to have that healthy competition, continue to develop, continue to push each other, it allows us to be more harder to defend.
I know you said Overton was repping at multiple positions at wide receiver. Is he kind of the clear-cut guy to step in now that Amari's out and DK's on the other side?
I wouldn't say clear-cut, but I tell you what, I've been impressed, and that's a little bit different when you talk about the 3 receiver positions. The one that's a little bit unique is that slot position, because you ask that guy to do, a few different things. It's usually your quicker twitch guy, your smaller guy, creating matchups. But I tell you what, he jumped in there day one. I'm proud of him. He sees an opportunity, but I wouldn't say it's clear-cut. We'll have to go through the competition and between him, Cornell, and TJ, and see who becomes the guy. But I tell you what, for a bigger guy, which you may not think would be the easy transition, he's made it seamlessly so far, and I've been proud of him. And I think, him being a senior, and he understands, the importance of leadership, the importance of versatility. He wants to play at the next level, so this has been a good opportunity for him.
How about Powell? How has he done since injury?
Powell's been pretty good. Powell's a guy that obviously was coming off a situation last year and missed a lot of reps, but I mean, he jumped right in there, and they've all had opportunities to make plays. I think that they all could be a little bit more consistent, at times, but they're still learning, and we've had them at different positions. And Jeff does a great job of rotating those guys and challenging them on a daily basis, to operate in different situations at different positions. But they all been doing a good job, and they've got some big shoes to fill. That was Hunter Renfro's position, and obviously, he kind of made the trademark for what that guy's supposed to be in a Clemson offense. But I anticipate that when it's all said and done, by the time we get to the first game, we're going to have a guy in there or a combination of guys that's going to be able to fill that void.
You
Couple
have some
new
freshmen
guys
at wide receiver and on the offensive line. Have any of them caught your eye?
The two young receivers, I mean, they're special talents, but more importantly, they're unbelievable young men. They're the kind of guys that you love to coach, because they just come in and they understand how talented they are, and they've had some success, and they've kind of hit that wall where, okay, I can't just get by on my talent because I kind of shot people, snuck up on people, and now they're having to learn the position. But they just compete. They don't say anything. They're about the right things. They do the little things right. They run after the catch like it's a game. They run on and off the field. They're very, very coachable. So those two guys right there are going to be special in the future. And now they just have to get into the summer, build their bodies for the long haul, take advantage of the skills and drills that we do in the summer, and really, really internalize in the system so that they're ready to go once we get into fall camp. But the sky's the limit on those two. Freshman-wise, on the offensive line, I thought Rayburn got off to a good start, and then once the installation started to pile up, then you could see that he was functioning, he was swimming, but he was doggy paddling. He was just trying to tread water, especially at the center position, because you have to make so many declarations and identifications. That's tough on a freshman. And then you look at Putnam. He's just a bull in the China shop, man. He was all over the place. Love his physicality, but again, as the installation piled up, and you're going against Venables' defense where they're never sitting still. They're always moving around. You got something new every single day. It started to wear on him, but definitely pleased. And then Caleb's been doing a good job. Obviously, probably the furthest to go of the three. But again, that's a hard position to transition, especially on our practice field when things are moving that fast.
How excited are you about seeing how Tyson performs on Saturday?
I'm excited. He's a guy that it's tough because the standard that he's measured by, is a little bit unrealistic. You talk about guys that have